When I told her not to travel with her male best friend, she posted, "Men think they own you." I said nothing. I just updated my status to single, canceled the wedding, and told her to find a new place. Then all hell broke loose. "All right, Reddit." My fiancée reconnected with her male college bestie and planned a weekend getaway with their group. When I refused, they called me insecure. So I called their bluff, went nuclear, and watched their whole group implode. Here's what went down. I am 29, male, a guy with a good career living downtown in a nice place. Been with Brooke for 4 years. Living together for 2, engagement ring on her finger for 6 months. We're talking the whole package here. Brooke was one of those women who just commanded attention. PR director. Always had these grand ideas about media campaigns and client strategies. She'd get this fire in her eyes when she talked about work, making me genuinely care about press coverage metrics just because she was passionate about it. We had our rhythm down perfect. Sunday runs, overpriced hipster coffee, Netflix binges where she'd steal my hoodies, and I'd pretend to be annoyed but secretly loved it. We'd talk until 2 a.m. about everything and nothing. 4 years of history, shared life, wedding planning starting to get serious. I thought we were bulletproof. Then March happened, and everything went sideways. Every woman has that friend, the chaos agent who shows up every few years like a bad rash, stirs shit up, then vanishes until the next crisis needs orchestrating. For Brooke, that was Zoe freaking Morrison, college roommate, sorority sister, the wild one who always pushed boundaries. She'd been safely contained in Seattle since graduation, and honestly, I was grateful for the 3,000-mile buffer zone. But in March, Zoe got transferred back to town. And suddenly, my adult fiancée turned back into a sorority girl. "Zoe is back," Brooke announced one evening, practically vibrating with excitement. "Isn't that amazing?" "Sure, amazing. What could possibly go wrong?" And guess what? She's been in touch with Chase, too. You remember Chase, right? Chase? Yeah, I remember Chase. They'd never dated, but her college best guy, the one whose name came up just often enough in her stories to make me slightly uncomfortable, but never enough to actually say anything about it. "She wants to get the old gang back together," Brooke said, scrolling through her phone with manic energy. Isn't that sweet? Sweet, right? Because getting the old gang back together has such a stellar track record in relationship history. But like an idiot, I smiled and said, "Sure, that sounds great." Because I trusted her. That was my first mistake. My second was not recognizing the red flags that started flying immediately after. It started with the group chat. Zoe made a group chat for all of us, Brooke said, showing me her phone. The chat was called College Crew Reunion, and it was exactly as obnoxious as you'd expect. Zoe was the ringleader, posting old photos and inside jokes I wasn't part of. Chase was dropping comments with just a little too much familiarity, and Brooke was eating it up like candy. The messages seemed innocent enough at first. Planning dinners, reminiscing about professors, that kind of thing. But there was an undertone I couldn't quite put my finger on, like they were all sharing some secret I wasn't in on. My best friend Ray noticed the shift first. Ray's this guy I've known since high school, works in finance, sharp as hell, and has zero tolerance for bullshit. "Dude," he said over drinks one evening, "your girl's Instagram feed is looking real cozy lately." He was right. Suddenly, Brooke's posts were full of squad pics. Her, Zoe, and Chase at various spots around town, always the three of them, always without me. Work ran late, she'd say when I asked. Or, you were at the gym. Or, it was just a quick thing. Individual excuses that made sense. Together, they formed a pattern. Then came the fitness obsession. Brooke had never been particularly athletic. She'd go through phases, yoga here, cycling there, but nothing stuck. Suddenly in April, she's signing up for this intense CrossFit gym, not the convenient one 5 minutes from our place. No, she had to drive 20 minutes to the specific gym that happened to be right near Chase's office. I want to get in shape for the wedding, she said, lacing up brand new $200 Nikes. Chase recommended this place. He says their trainers are amazing. Of course he did, because everything was about Chase now. Next came the shopping sprees. Full Lululemon everything. Matching sets, sports bras, leggings, the works. My credit card statement looked like she'd robbed an athletic store. When I mentioned the expense, she got defensive. It's an investment in my health. You should be supportive. Then her Instagram transformed from normal person posts to full fitness influencer mode. Her pre-dawn gym selfies with captions like, earning my Sunday brunch, and strong is the new sexy. The comments were what really got me. Chase was always first with looking good and way too many fire emojis. Then the phone situation. We used to be normal about our phones, left them around, no big deal. If one got a text while driving, the other would read it out loud. Standard relationship stuff. Suddenly, her phone was surgically attached to her hand, always face down, always on silent, always angled away when she was texting, which was constantly. Just coordinating with the trainer, she'd say when I caught her smiling at her screen at 11 p.m. Our social life got completely hijacked, too. We went from making plans together as a team to everything starting with, the group wants to, or Zoe suggested, or Chase knows this great place. Date nights got interrupted by group texts. Weekend plans got rearranged for whatever Zoe had cooked up. I went from being her partner to being the guy who tagged along when convenient. Ray was brutally honest about it during basketball one evening. Bro, he said, nailing a three-pointer, when's the last time you and Brooke did something alone? Actually alone, not alone until Zoe texted. I thought about it, really thought about it, and came up empty. That's what I thought, Ray said. She's got a new priority list and you ain't at the top. Brooke's world had been completely reorganized around this college friend group with Zoe as puppet master and Chase as co-star. I'd become a supporting character in my own relationship. But I convinced myself I was being paranoid, insecure, clingy, all the things guys get called when they notice their girlfriends pulling away. Turns out sometimes paranoia is just pattern recognition. And the pattern was about to become clear. The whole thing exploded on a Thursday night in May. We were at this Italian place, our spot, where we'd had our first official date, where I'd mentally rehearsed proposing about 100 times. I was excited, telling her about this project at work that could mean a big promotion, something I'd been busting my ass for months to land. She was half listening, scrolling through what I now know was the group chat, making those little huffing laughs at whatever brilliant commentary was being shared. So if this presentation goes well next week, I said, trying to get her attention, I might be looking at senior developer by end of year. She said, still typing. That's great, babe. That's when her phone buzzed with a call. Zoe's name lit up the screen, and Brooke's whole face changed, like she'd been waiting for this call all evening. I should take this, she said, already standing. Right. She walked outside and through the window. I watched her pacing back and forth, gesturing animatedly. Whatever Zoe was telling her, it was big news. When she came back 5 minutes later, she was vibrating with excitement. Okay, so you know how Zoe has been planning something special for our reunion. I did not know that, but I nodded. Well, she just finalized everything. She booked us a weekend at this amazing resort in Napa Valley. Isn't that incredible? Us, me, her, and Chase. The core three. Just like old times.
Just like old times.
The core three. I wasn't part of this equation. And what about me? I asked. She paused like she hadn't considered this possibility. Oh, well, it's kind of a college friends thing. You know how it is with inside jokes and shared memories. You'd probably be bored, right? I'd be bored at a romantic lakeside resort with my own fiancée. When? Next weekend. Zoe got this incredible deal, but we have to book now or lose the spot. The same weekend we talked about maybe driving up to wine country for our own little getaway. So, I said, keeping my voice level, Zoe planned a weekend trip to a romantic resort for you and Chase, and somehow forgot to include your fiancé. It's not like that, Brooke said, but there was an edge creeping into her voice. Chase is like a brother to me. You know that. Brothers don't usually take their sisters to couples resorts in Napa Valley. Stop. It's not a couples resort. It's just a nice place. And Zoe will be there too. Zoe, who's been trying to recreate your college glory days since she moved back. That hit a nerve. What's that supposed to mean? It means I'm not comfortable with you going away for the weekend with another guy, regardless of your history. The words hung in the air like smoke. This was it. The line in the sand, the boundary I'd been avoiding setting for months. Are you freaking serious right now? Brooke said loud enough that nearby tables started looking. You're going to be that guy, the controlling boyfriend who doesn't trust his own fiancée. Setting a boundary isn't being controlling. It's called having self-respect. It's called being insecure, she shot back. Chase is my friend, my oldest friend. If you can't handle that, maybe we have bigger problems. Her phone buzzed with a text. She glanced at it, and I saw her jaw clench. What? Zoe wants to know if there's going to be drama about this. She says if you're going to make this into a big thing, maybe she should uninvite me. Perfect. So now I was the villain for not wanting my fiancée to go on a romantic weekend with another man. Tell her that my discomfort with my fiancée going to Napa with her male friend isn't drama. It's a boundary. After some frantic texting, Brooke announced that Zoe wanted to FaceTime to clear the air. Before I could object, there was Zoe on the screen, all fake smiles and condescending energy. The conversation went exactly how you'd expect. Zoe gave me the whole Chase is like family routine, calling me insecure for having a problem with it. I tried explaining that siblings don't usually book romantic resorts together, but she just laughed it off. The whole time, Brooke was nodding along like Zoe was making perfect sense instead of defending the guy she was supposed to marry. The kicker came when Zoe said Chase was super excited to catch up with Brooke, and they had so much history to talk about. Yeah, I bet they did. History to talk about, right? I paid the check and we left in silence. The whole ride home, Brooke was texting furiously, getting pep talks from Zoe about how unreasonable I was being. So what's it going to be? She asked, as we pulled into our driveway. Are you going to trust me, Or are you going to be the jealous fiancé who ruins everything? I'm going to be the guy who doesn't pretend this is normal, I said. If you want to go to Napa with Chase, go, but don't expect me to pretend it's okay. She slammed the car door hard enough to rattle the windows. That night, she slept on the couch. And the next morning, I woke up to an empty apartment and a missing suitcase. She was already gone. Her weekend bag was missing, the good luggage we'd bought for Europe last year. Her gym bag was gone too, which was weird since she never worked out on Fridays. Unless, of course, she was planning to work out with Chase at his fancy CrossFit gym near Napa Valley. I made coffee, got dressed for work, tried to focus on my big presentation. This was literally the most important day of my career so far. 6 months of research and development, a potential promotion hanging in the balance. But I kept staring at that empty space in our closet. Then my phone buzzed with an Instagram notification. There she was. Sunglasses, airport coffee, that huge smile I hadn't seen directed at me in weeks. She was wearing one of those new workout sets, the expensive ones I'd been paying for. And she looked genuinely happy for the first time in months. The caption hit me in the gut. Some people call it running away. I call it running toward happiness. No apologies. Live your truth. Sometimes people show their true colors. The comments were already pouring in. Yes, Queen, live your best life. Some men just can't handle a strong woman. Toxic masculinity is so last season. And there right at the top was Zoe. So proud of you for choosing yourself. Real friends support your growth. Chase had liked the post. Of course he had. But seeing our mutual friends, people who knew both of us, cheering her on for publicly humiliating me, that's when something just snapped. All those months of making excuses for her behavior, all those times I'd convinced myself I was being paranoid when my gut was screaming warnings. I'd been in this relationship alone for months, planning our future while she was planning her fun. While I was thinking about marriage and houses and kids, she was thinking about college glory days and whatever fantasy she'd built up around Chase. I went to work on autopilot and absolutely killed my presentation. Turns out when you're running on righteous anger, you can accomplish anything. My boss pulled me aside afterward to say it was some of the best work I'd done. If he only knew I'd been mentally planning my breakup strategy during the Kanda. That evening, I called Ray. Dude, he said before I could even explain, I saw the Instagram post. What the hell? Yeah, so that happened. Please tell me you're not going to just sit there and take this. I'm not. But I'm not going to do anything stupid either. Define stupid. Blow up her phone, make a scene, post some passive-aggressive response. Okay, so what's the not stupid option? Wait for it. I didn't waste time thinking. I was done with analysis. First, Facebook relationship status changed from engaged to Brooke to single. Hit save. Second, called the wedding venue and canceled everything. Yes, we'd lose most of the deposits. No, I didn't give a fuck. Third, drafted the 30-day eviction notice. My lawyer had sent me a template months ago just in case. Turns out Mom's paranoia was useful. Fourth, called Brooke's parents. This was the conversation I was dreading most, but it needed to happen. Her parents were old-school Catholics, the kind who still believed in commitment, respect, and keeping your word. They had been excited about the wedding, already bought their outfits, booked their flights. I explained everything. The Chase situation, the Napa trip, the public humiliation. I kept it factual. Didn't trash talk their daughter. Just laid out what happened. The silence lasted about 30 seconds. She went away with another man after you asked her not to? His voice was tight with controlled anger. Yep. And then she mocked you publicly for having standards? Yes, sir. Another pause. Son, I owe you an apology. We raised her better than this. This is not the behavior of a woman ready for marriage. Her mother got on the phone after that, crying, apologizing for her daughter's behavior, asking if there was anything they could do. I told her the truth. Some things can't be fixed, only learned from. Then I turned off my phone and went for the longest run of my life. When I finally turned it back on that evening, it was like a small nuclear bomb had gone off in my notifications. 60 missed calls, 300+ text messages, Instagram DMs, Facebook messages, even LinkedIn messages from people I barely knew. The messages from Brooke were a masterclass in emotional manipulation. What the hell is wrong with you? Change it back right now. This isn't funny anymore. I'm in Napa. You can't do this to me here. Answer your damn phone. Everyone is asking what happened. You're embarrassing me. The best message came from Zoe. Brooke is having a panic attack. Whatever game you're playing, it's not cute. She's supposed to be having fun, and you're ruining it with your jealousy. Grow up. A panic attack at the romantic wine country resort while she was supposed to be having innocent fun with her brother-like friend Chase. I screenshot that message for posterity, then deleted the entire thread without responding. Sunday evening, while I was meal prepping and enjoying the first peaceful silence I'd had in months, my phone buzzed with an unexpected message. It was from Zara, a girl from my gym. We'd had maybe a dozen conversations over the past year. Casual stuff while waiting for equipment, small talk about routines. She was cute, seemed smart. She'd hinted sometimes, and had mentioned being single, but I'd never pursued it because, well, I was engaged. Hey, I saw on Facebook that you're single now. I hope everything's okay. If you ever want to grab coffee and talk, or just hang out with someone who won't ask a million questions, let me know. No pressure at all. I stared at that message for 5 minutes. That's really thoughtful of you, I wrote back. Are you free Tuesday evening? Absolutely. There's this new sushi place on 5th Street I've been wanting to try. 7 work for you? While Brooke was presumably trying to salvage her weekend getaway and explain why her fiancé had suddenly gone nuclear, I was setting up my first date in 4 years. Tuesday couldn't come fast enough. When it did, I was nervous as hell. I'd forgotten how to do this, how to talk to women outside the safety of a committed relationship. All my worrying was for nothing. Zara showed up looking effortlessly beautiful, not Instagram filtered, not trying too hard, just naturally pretty in jeans and a sweater that actually fit her properly. We talked for 3 hours straight about work, books, travel, completely random shit that made us both laugh. She asked questions and actually listened to the answers. When I told stories, she responded with her own instead of immediately steering everything back to herself. She didn't check her phone once, not once, in 3 hours. I'd forgotten what it felt like to be heard in a conversation. So, she said over dessert, are you going to tell me what happened, or should I just assume you finally snapped and buried someone in your backyard? I laughed. Nothing that dramatic. Just realized I was in a relationship with someone who didn't actually want to be in a relationship with me. Ah, she said, nodding knowingly. The old, I love you, but I'm not in love with you situation. More like the, I love you, but I love the attention from other guys more situation. She winced. Ouch, that's worse. Yeah, well, live and learn, right? Her loss, she said simply, and somehow it sounded like she meant it. Around 9 p.m. my phone started buzzing with calls from Brooke. I glanced at it, declined the call, and put it face down. Everything okay? Zara asked. Yep, everything's perfect. She smiled. Good for you. We ended up at this 24-hour diner, sharing chocolate cake and talking until midnight. When we walked to our cars, she said, I had a really great time tonight. I hope we can do this again soon. Definitely, I said, and meant every word. When I pulled into my driveway, Brooke's car was there. She was sitting on the porch steps in full raccoon breakdown mode. Mascara streaked down her face, hair a mess, still wearing those expensive workout clothes that now looked wrinkled. You haven't talked to me in 4 days, she said as soon as I got out of the car. You went to Napa with Chase after I specifically told you I wasn't comfortable with it, I replied, walking past her to unlock the door. And you didn't come back because you missed me. You came back because I embarrassed you. She followed me inside, switching tactics in real time from victim to angry. Where had I been tonight? Who was I with? The usual interrogation you'd expect from someone who just spent the weekend with another guy. Doesn't matter. We're not together anymore. That's when reality hit her. The whole, we live together. We have a life together. Speech started, but I cut it short by pulling out the formal eviction notice. Here, you have 30 days to find a new place. What the hell? Are you kidding me right now? You can't just kick me out. Then came the real bomb. I asked for the ring back. $8,000 isn't pocket change, and I wasn't about to let her keep it as a breakup trophy. She went through the whole cycle, disbelief, anger, and sobbing, finally twisted it off her finger and hurled it at my face, calling it cheap, despite 6 months of Instagram posts calling it her dream ring. That's when she completely lost it. Throwing herself on the couch, sobbing like someone had died, hyperventilating between screams about how I was ruining her life. This isn't happening, she kept repeating. This isn't real. You can't do this to me. I can, and I am. I called Ray while she was having her meltdown. Yo, brother, want to crash at my place for a while? He showed up an hour later with a duffel bag and a shit-eating grin. This is going to be fun, he said, taking one look at Brooke, still sobbing on the couch. And it was fun. Ray had this gift for being petty in the most hilarious ways. He'd use the coffee maker at 6 a.m., grinding beans loudly. He'd watch action movies with the volume just slightly too loud. He'd cook elaborate meals that smelled amazing, then not offer her any. Oh, sorry, Brooke, he'd say with fake concern. I only made enough for people who actually live here. The best part was how he'd answer his phone calls in the living room, talking loudly about his dating life. Yeah, bro, find yourself a girl who respects boundaries. These toxic chicks who play games, total waste of time. Life's too short to deal with crazy. Brooke would stomp around slamming doors, but Ray just smiled and kept talking. The real entertainment came the next day when Zoe showed up. I was in my home office when I heard the doorbell. Ray answered it. Oh, you must be Zoe, I heard him say in his most sarcastic voice. The puppet master herself. Excuse me? Nothing. Tom's in his office down the hall. Zoe strutted into my office like she owned the place, all fake confidence and attitude. "We need to talk," she announced. "No, we don't. This whole thing is ridiculous. You're being completely unreasonable." I looked up from my laptop. "I'm sorry. Who are you to have an opinion about my relationship?" "I'm Brooke's best friend, and what you're doing to her is cruel." "What I'm doing is having self-respect. Try it sometime." She planted herself in the chair across from my desk, like she was settling in for negotiations. "Look, Tom, I get that you're upset about the Napa thing, but you're overreacting. It was innocent." "Sure it was." She tried to bluff for another few minutes. When she realized I wasn't going to budge, she switched tactics. "Fine, but you can't kick Brooke out. She has rights." "She has 30 days. That's what the law requires." "This is her home. This is my apartment that I graciously let her live in. That arrangement is ending." "You're being a vindictive asshole." That's when Ray appeared in the doorway. "Hey, Zoe, I think it's time for you to leave." "I'm not done talking." "Yes, you are." Ray stepped into the room, and even though he's not a big guy, there's something about his energy that makes people back down. "You orchestrated this whole shit show. Got your friend to humiliate my boy publicly, and now you want to come into his house and make demands. Nah. You can't kick me out." "Watch me." Ray grabbed her purse and handed it to her. "Door's that way. Use it." "Don't think it's over," she said, trying to maintain some dignity as Ray escorted her out. "Yeah, it is," I called after her. "And tell Brooke that her emotional support manipulator isn't welcome here anymore." The next morning I woke up to my phone buzzing non-stop. Brooke had spent the night crafting her revenge narrative, posting it everywhere: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, probably LinkedIn. The post was a masterpiece of manipulation. After 4 years together, my fiancé decided to end our relationship via Facebook status change while I was visiting friends. Then he served me with eviction papers. Like I'm some random roommate instead of the woman who's been building a life with him. I guess I dodged a bullet, but it still hurts to see someone you love become someone you don't recognize. Toxic masculinity, manipulative partners. The comments were exactly what you'd expect. Her friends rallying around her, strangers offering support, my character getting assassinated by people who'd never met me. But while Brooke was busy playing victim on social media, I was documenting everything. Screenshots of her posts, copies of our conversations, photos of the apartment. My lawyer had warned me to expect retaliation. Over the next 2 weeks, Brooke launched a campaign that would make political operatives proud. She accidentally broke things: my coffee mug, a picture frame, the good blender. Small stuff that could be explained as stress or clumsiness. She brought friends over at all hours, claiming she needed support during this difficult time. They'd be loud until 2 a.m., leaving messes, basically making my life miserable. But the real escalation came when she found out about Zara. I'd been seeing her regularly. Nothing serious yet, just casual dinners and coffee while I figured out my life. She was patient, understanding, and refreshingly normal after months of Brooke's emotional chaos. Somehow Brooke found out. Thursday evening, I came home to find her sitting in the living room with a bottle of wine and a psychotic expression. "So," she said without preamble, "you're already screwing someone else." "I'm dating someone. Yes, dating." She laughed, but it sounded more like a bark. "How long?" "How is that your business?" "How long have you been cheating on me?" "I haven't cheated on anyone. We broke up. I'm single. I can see whoever I want." That's when she completely lost it. She threw the glass first, missed me by inches, and shattered against the wall. Then she went for the remote control, hurling it at my head. "You freaking asshole," she screamed. "You planned this. You already had her lined up." "I planned," I replied, dodging a flying coaster, "not to let you walk all over me anymore." "She's nothing." Brooke was pacing now, looking for more ammunition. "Some gym bimbo who doesn't even know you." "She knows how to respect boundaries. That puts her ahead of you." That's when Brooke grabbed the TV remote and hurled it at my 65-inch flat screen. The remote hit dead center and the screen spider-webbed with cracks before going black. My TV, the one I'd saved up for months to buy. Something inside me snapped. "You're done." I pulled out my phone and started dialing. "Get your shit and get out now." "What?" "Pack whatever you can carry and leave tonight." "You can't kick me out. I have rights." "You just destroyed my property. I'm calling the cops." She stared at me, probably trying to figure out if I was bluffing. I wasn't. "Wait," she said, panic creeping in. "Wait, I'm sorry. I'll pay for it." "Too late, Ray. Help her pack. Get her the hell out of here." Ray stepped forward. "Come on, Brooke. Let's get your stuff." "I'm not going anywhere." She tried to push past Ray, but he caught her wrists. "Yeah, you are," Ray said firmly. "The adult conversation portion of this evening is over." She struggled for a few seconds, then started crying. Genuine panic crying. "Please," she sobbed. "I have nowhere to go." "Shut the fuck up. You destroyed my TV." Ray helped her pack 2 suitcases while she alternated between crying and threatening to call her lawyer. I documented everything with my phone. The broken TV, her threats, her refusal to leave voluntarily. "You're making a mistake," she said as Ray escorted her out with her bags. "You'll regret this. That bitch will never be better than me. None will love you like I did." "Sure thing." I slept peacefully that night. Throughout the next week, Brooke was spamming pictures all over social media of her and Chase with captions like, "Know your real people, and sometimes you lose something to get something better." Zoe, of course, was hyping them up in the comments with "Slay Queen" and "I'm proud of you" bullshit. I just blocked them all. I had more important things to focus on. But the universe wasn't done delivering justice yet. One afternoon my phone rang. Unknown number. Woman's voice, professional but strained. "Is this Tom?" "Yes." "This is Chloe from Smith's Associates. I think we need to talk about Zoe Morrison." Smith's Associates, Zoe's company, and Chloe was her supervisor. We met that afternoon. Chloe was sharp and direct. "I'll cut to the chase," she said. "Zoe has been using company resources for personal trips, booking hotels on the corporate account, using her company credit card for personal expenses, the Napa trip, among others. Yes, she claimed they were business retreats, team-building exercises, but when we looked into it..." Chloe slid a folder across the table. "The only employees attending these business retreats were her and 2 external friends." The folder contained receipts, email chains, screenshots of the group chat where Zoe was coordinating everything. It was all there. The lies about business purposes, the personal use of company funds, the complete disregard for policy. "How did you find out?" Chloe smiled grimly. "Anonymous tip. Someone sent us detailed information about her activities, including dates, expenses, and evidence. These weren't business-related. They also told us you might have some information to give us." I had a pretty good idea who might have sent that tip. Ray worked in finance and had connections everywhere. He'd been suspiciously smug lately when I mentioned Zoe. What happens now? Zoe is being terminated for fraud and misuse of company resources. We're also pursuing legal action to recover the misappropriated funds. But wait, the karma was just getting started. The next piece of cosmic justice came from an unexpected source, Chase himself. According to mutual friends who were suddenly very willing to share gossip, whatever had happened in Napa hadn't gone according to Brooke's plan. Chase had brought a surprise guest to the resort, his girlfriend Christina, who he'd been dating for 3 months. The romantic reunion Zoe had orchestrated turned into an awkward weekend where Brooke played third wheel while Chase focused on his actual girlfriend. The college fantasy she'd built up crashed into reality, and reality won decisively. But the best part was yet to come. Remember that group chat where they had been planning behind my back and making jokes about my reaction? Christina had been added to it too. And Christina, being a normal human with functional boundaries, screenshot everything and sent it to Chase's ex-girlfriend Kate, who'd been wondering why Chase had suddenly become distant. Kate worked at the same PR firm as Brooke. She had opinions about women who interfered in other people's relationships. Monday morning, Brooke walked into her office to find HR waiting. Someone had sent them evidence that she'd been having inappropriate communications with clients' business partners. Chase worked for one of their client companies and using company time to coordinate personal affairs. The company took a dim view of employees whose personal drama interfered with client relationships. Ray filled me in on the details over drinks that Friday. "So let me get this straight," I said. "Zoe got fired for fraud, Chase got dumped by his girlfriend, and Brooke got suspended from work." "Brooke didn't just get suspended," Ray said with a satisfied grin. "She got fired. Her supervisor had been looking for a reason anyway. Attitude problems, missed deadlines. The relationship drama was just the excuse they needed." "How do you know all this?" "My buddy works in their HR department. The whole thing was a shit show. Brooke tried to claim discrimination, but when they showed her the screenshots of her own messages..." Ray shook his head. She walked out crying. Meanwhile, my life was going better than it had in years. The promotion came through with a significant raise. Zara and I were taking things slow but steady. She was everything Brooke wasn't: honest, supportive, respectful of boundaries, genuinely interested in building something real instead of chasing drama for entertainment. The apartment was peaceful again. I'd repaired the damage, upgraded security, created a space that actually felt like home instead of a war zone. Then the universe had one final act of poetic justice in store. Exactly 3 months after the Facebook status change that started everything, I got a text from Brooke. "Can we please talk? I know I messed up. I miss you. I miss us." I showed Ray the message. "You going to respond?" "Yeah, but not how she's expecting." "What's the plan?" I grinned. "Let me tell you." I texted Brooke back. "Mel's Diner on 5th Street. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. you get 30 minutes. The next evening, I showed up 15 minutes early and grabbed a booth in the back. Ray arrived 10 minutes later, sat across the room with his phone ready to document everything. Brooke walked in at exactly 7 p.m. looking like she'd spent hours preparing, hair done, makeup perfect, wearing that dress I used to love. She was pulling out all the stops for one last manipulation attempt. She slid into the booth across from me, hands shaking slightly, looking like she'd spent hours preparing for this moment. Thank you for agreeing to meet me, she said in that small, vulnerable voice I used to fall for. For 20 minutes, she delivered the full manipulation playbook. Sorry, therapy, personal growth, how Chase was just a scared attempt to avoid commitment. The works. She even grabbed my hand while explaining how she'd learned and grown, and knew I was what she really wanted. The Chase thing had been a disaster. Apparently, his actual girlfriend found out and realized he'd been lying to both of them.
Sound familiar?
Karma's a beautiful thing. I know I don't deserve another chance, she said, tears flowing on cue, but what we had was real. You're right, I said quietly. Her whole face lit up with hope. Really? I stood up, pulled out my wallet, placed a 10 on the table. Thanks for the show, I said, but the answer is no. I'm not taking you back. Not now. Not ever. Not if you were the last woman on earth. That's when she completely snapped. Screw you, she screamed, standing so fast she knocked over her water. You think you're so perfect? You're nothing. You're boring and safe, and you'll never find anyone better than me. The entire diner went silent. Everyone was staring. I gave you the best years of my life, she continued, voice cracking, and you threw it away over one mistake, one weekend. Ma'am, said the manager, appearing at our table, I need you to lower your voice or leave. This is between me and him. Not anymore. You're disturbing other customers. Time to go. You can't kick me out. Security, the manager called. 2 guys built like linebackers started moving toward our table. Fine, fine. Brooke grabbed her purse and stormed toward the exit, but turned back one last time. You'll regret this. When you're old and alone, you'll remember what you gave up. All right, Pocahontas. She flipped me off and stormed out with half the diner watching in shock. I sat back down, calmly, finished my coffee, left a nice tip for the waitress who'd witnessed that spectacle. Ray came over, grinning like the Cheshire Cat. Dude, he said, holding up his phone, I got the whole thing. The boys are going to love this. We walked to the parking lot where I could see Brooke sitting in her car crying and probably figuring out how to spin this into another victim narrative. As I walked to my car, I felt something I hadn't experienced in months. Complete peace. The woman who'd made me question my own sanity was finally facing the consequences of her choices. Last I heard, her friend group imploded after the whole drama. Zoe ghosted her, blaming her for everything. Chase was nowhere to be found. And Brooke? Well, she's Brooke. And me? I'm great.